Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Man. We talk about all subjects on this channel. You want to call it something, Truth Man Sports? I'm talking about underestimation, but it's a sports topic. So I'm looking at Manny Pacquiao. I'm like, oh, Pacquiao fought. And I said, whoa, he lost to Yordenis Ugas? Classic example, possibly, of underestimation. See, a lot of people, when deciding who they will make as their opponent, whether it be in a street fight, whether it be in a petty argument, whether it be in a boxing ring, some people underestimate their opponent, and sometimes they look at opponent's record, or I'm like, I think I could beat him. He lost a lot of fights. But that doesn't mean you are going to beat him. And it could have been like even, okay, Canelo Alvarez, for instance, he lost to Mayweather. But that's Mayweather. So if you follow boxing, you probably notice that a couple of fights after that, people was underestimating him. And he was beating him. I don't think he lost since then. Had to draw, this, that, and the other. But we ain't gonna go long. You can't underestimate your opponent. I go back in my own personal life. There was this guy, grew up with us, same neighborhood, same schools. He was kind of a bully. Like, he was bigger than everybody. He was taller. He was 6'1" at 14 years old. So this guy, one day we were walking home from school. Everybody, the whole school, practically rode the same bus. So everybody walking to the bus stop, and he got to what you call roasting my older sister. I was a lot smaller than him, so I said to myself, one day I'm gonna whoop his ass. That's what my mind said. The guy could fight, and he wasn't small. I said, one day I'm gonna whoop his ass. So now, years later, 15, a couple years later, same bully, jumped on one of my friends. I jumped in it, he didn't beat me per se, but it wasn't like a win. So 4 more years later, now I'm 19. I got muscles. I've been working out. I play football. I got a nasty streak in me, kind of a thug now. My sister walks out. He tries to speak. After all those years of trying to ridicule her, and when she doesn't want to speak to him, he calls her, you ain't gonna speak? Called her bitch. I'm thinking in my mind, like, I think he believes we're still kids. I think he believes that he still can bully. It's not that he ever bullied me. It's like I never really took his challenge. Because, okay, let me go over here. It's a lot of glare. I never took his challenge because I felt like he probably would have beat me. Like, I would have got some hits in because my punches were snappy and fast, but he was just bigger than me, and he possibly would have won. So I ain't fighting. But this time, I said I was sick. I told one of our friends, I said, when I get better, when I get over this, I'm whooping him. So couple days later, one of my good friends comes running over there. Oh man, such and such. He went in my pockets, man. He was trying to fight me. He was starting to that. We all went over there. I said, oh yeah, this is the time. So we get there. I'm gonna try to tell the story real quick. We're arguing. My hand was in the way, but don't worry about that. Just listen to what I'm saying. We were arguing. So he nose to nose with one of my other friends. I pushed my friend out the way and clocked him. We all three of us started jumping him at first, but I knew it was gonna be one-on-one because a lot of our other guys from the neighborhood was gonna make sure that it was one-on-one. So they were breaking it up. He went one-on-one with my other friend. Uh, I still ran over there and punched him. Um, they broke up. I knew he was gonna try to come after me. Long story short, me and him got to fighting and I beat him severely. But after I beat him, like maybe a couple months later, I was telling people, like, don't think that he is weak because I beat him. You know, I beat him. Like, you know, I don't remember how I said it, but I said something along those lines. So a couple guys tried to fight him, and he was beating up people. I mean, he got beat up by another guy I know, but he really only lost 2 fights. You can't underestimate people. Pacquiao, I don't know, but if I made a guess, Pacquiao was looking at the fact that Ugas lost 4 fights and thought, oh, okay, I beat Keith Thurman. I'll beat Ugas, no problem. He really didn't even want to fight Ugas. He wanted to fight Errol Spence, which sometimes that happens. The same thing happened with Anthony Joshua, I believe, me personally. I believe that he underestimated the heart of Ruiz. Even on the movies, Rocky, a lot of people didn't factor, like Drago. We see Rocky play out in real life sometimes. Drago didn't factor in that Rocky was small, but he had a lot of heart. And when he wanted to beat you, he would do everything he could to beat you. Well, you guys, I mean, we don't know. This guy might be the real deal. He beat Manny Pacquiao. Now, people say, oh, Pacquiao 42. What did that mean? What does 42 mean? That don't mean anything. You know, it could have been Pacquiao didn't want to fight him. Me personally, my guess would be that Pacquiao underestimated him. And when he started hitting him with shots, Pacquiao was getting frustrated. And he ended up losing the fight. Never underestimate your opponent. Whether your opponent is even other aspects of life, whether your opponent is the devil herself, whether your opponent is your bills, whether your opponent is whatever your opponent may be, never underestimate your opponent. Focus on winning regardless of who you're playing against. We see this play out. Like I recall New England lost to Detroit, and Detroit was like the worst team in the league. New England was like the best. I mean, it happens all the time. All the time. Like LeBron putting together all these super teams. That don't mean he gonna beat my Bucks. Oh, I need everybody on my team. Let's get Westbrook. Let's get this person up. That don't mean he gonna beat the Bucks. See, what's gonna happen is, and the Nets underestimated the Bucks too. The Nets underestimated the Bucks, and they end up losing. And had hurt face all on the sideline. It happens. Never underestimate your opponent. Focus on winning. Moving on to the next opponent. Moving on to the next goal, next task. Because now Manny Pacquiao, although he beat Keith Thurman, who's a very good fighter, now he wants to quit. Because he thinks, oh, I lost to Yordenis Ugas. But we don't know what's going on in Yordenis Ugas' heart and mind. He might be ready to take all of those guys out. You never know. Me personally, I don't think none of them going. Only way they beating Errol Spence is if Errol Spence hasn't recovered from his accident, if his jaw is weak now. That's the only way. I don't think any of them can beat Errol Spence. The one who has the best chance is Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford has to be jumping up and down celebrating that Pacquiao lost, because now everybody has to look at him as the premier opponent. Now that Pacquiao lost, now it's going to be Terrence Crawford. You know, you can't overlook him now. You got to fight him, and you got to pay him. But that's all I had on this topic. There'll be other videos. Remember, I talk about all subjects. Somebody told me, you need to focus on the niche. Now, this how I do it.